But what's really important is, which I want to talk about a little bit more, is summed up in the Sanskrit term, the Indian term Bhav. B-H-A-V is a transliteration, the Bhav. It's our way that we relate to the divine and how we see ourselves in relation to the divine. And there are lots of different bhavs. It can change, but there's sort of it's a feeling, a mood, a way of relating that can relate to a specific portal into the divine, a specific way of being, be it a specific deity, perhaps in a religion, or one of the masters, or one of these things. But this tuning into what, how this bhav is and how I'm relating to a specific bhav can be important, because if we can really go in depth into a specific bhav, it can really help us. So think of our masters. They have a different bhav. They're all realized masters, but they are slightly different in their way that they've manifested in the way we can tune in. Sri Yukteswar, Jnana Yoga, centered in the spine, wisdom, truth. And, Master, Kriyananda said, Master could tune into that sometimes. He could manifest that Jnana Bhav, that wisdom Bhav, and you just be this fountain of information, of wisdom. But Master Yogananda was more of a Prem avatar, more the Bhav of divine love. And that was what he tuned into most. It's a way we can often tune into him, that love he had for the Divine Mother, that love he has for all of us. And Lahiri Mahashaya, he's the yoga avatar. His Bhav was one of Raja Yoga. Do Kriya Yoga. Any problem? Kriya Yoga. Meditate. So there's that Bhav. And you can tune into these in different ways. And this is not just the masters. This also came home to me, the different depths of the Bhav in my experience of the Eucharist in the Christian church. So I grew up in a Presbyterian church, a Protestant church, and we didn't have communion all the time. When we did have communion, there was this plate of little squares of bread that were all chopped up, little things, and had some grape juice, and people would file by, and it had, I don't think it was very tuned into the Bhav of approaching Christ through the blood and body of Christ. I mean, I didn't relate to it at all as a kid. I was just like, what is this? Later on, after I got married, I was introduced more to the Catholic presentation of the Eucharist, and we went to various services in Spain, and I would watch the people coming up, and there I could see, wow, okay, there's something in this ceremony. You could see, especially, I have to say, it was especially the little old widows dressed in black who probably went to Mass every day. You could watch them come up, and you could see they had entered into that Bhav, that relation to Christ through this ceremony, through the blood, through the bread, the body and blood of Christ. But I really didn't appreciate that ceremony until I was in India. And I actually had the good fortune of going to see Mother Teresa. She was still on the body in Calcutta. We went to an evening Vespers ceremony at one of her ashrams, one of her places in Calcutta. And watching her offer the Eucharist and do the ceremony, it was amazing. You could just feel that Bhav, that divine love, just perfected. She didn't say anything. It was just the vibration emanating from her, and her gestures, her little, there was even only slight movements. But there you could appreciate, okay, that's the Bhav of how to approach Jesus through this ceremony.